Let's talk more about what's going on in the broader markets right now. I want to bring in Anna Han. She is Wells Fargo Securities equity strategist. Anna, it's good to see you. So you could read this Warner Music IPO and the uptick in IPOs this week perhaps as yet another sign of the increased risk appetite we are seeing in the markets. But a theme that we keep coming back to is the sort of seeming disconnect between the economic data that we're getting, improving as it is, the protests that are convulsing the nation, and then the markets rising and people adding to risk here. And you yourself, I believe, are counseling to add on to risk. Walk me through your thinking on that.
Thanks, Julie. We are telling clients to incrementally start adding risk to the portfolio because compared to where we were at the end of March, we've seen a lot of the uncertainties due to the coronavirus be answered. And now that's not answering all our questions, but it has gotten us more guidance than we had before. And that's helped push the equity rally. And you've seen risk, not just in equities, but in the credit markets also be reduced. That gives investors the confidence, especially to participate in IPOs and to participate in the equities, and particularly a little more risk seeking.
Hey, Anna, it's Adam. Good to see you. Which investors have confidence? Are we watching institutional money drive this market up, or is the retail investor confident enough to come back in?
You're seeing a little mix of both, actually. The retail investors, you are seeing more participation in the broader market indices. However, when it comes to our institutional clients, you are seeing people saying, when do we get back involved? Now, even 2 months ago, after we saw equity bottom at 22.37, we were incrementally and tactically adding and putting that sideline cash back to work in equities. Now, at these levels, well, to be frank, we're a little bit at the top end of our near-term range, but we do see further opportunities.
Hey, Anna, Rick Newman here. What kind of recovery is the market pricing in right now? Is it a quick V-shaped recovery, or is the market okay if a recovery is more, forget about the shape, but if it just takes longer and maybe doesn't even materialize until 2021 or 2022?
Rick, you have a good point. The shape, it's talked about a lot, but what we see coming up is in second quarter, we expect a heavy GDP contraction, probably around 25%. And when you look across the street, that seems pretty consensus that we will see a heavy contraction this quarter. Now, the rest of this year, the second half, at least, of 2020, we do not think it will make up for the output loss that we saw in the first half. However, a double dip scenario does not seem really to be what people are expecting. It is going to be rough. We have a long road ahead, but we're thinking in 2021, we will see positive GDP growth.
Anna, I want to ask how you're thinking about factoring the risk of the increased rhetoric between China and the U.S. We just got the news today that the U.S. is weighing a ban on Chinese airline carriers traveling to the U.S. in response to Delta not being allowed to fly to China. So we've seen this sort of incremental ratcheting up, right, of that type of rhetoric. How big a risk is that?
Ratcheting up is a good way to describe it, Julie. You're seeing that tensions between the U.S. and China have heated up with both sides. Well, we can start with the Trump administration has been blocking Chinese companies' access to U.S. markets, as well as U.S. investing in Chinese companies. Now, it looks like for now, the phase one trade deal is still on the table. However, the purchases that China promised the U.S., that may be a little more difficult because both countries are in a heavy recession. Now, going forward, it's a risk to consider, but right now it seems, at least to us, the focus remains on the coronavirus, and that China tensions, like they were center and stage in 2019, right now remain secondary to the virus.
Anna, thank you so much. It's good to see you, and be well. Anna Han is an equity strategist, at Wells Fargo Securities. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.